Alright, welcome back to the channel. So this next video we're going to be watching is by A to Z, or Atozy. And I guess Bhad Bhabie and the Dr. Phil saga is definitely still going. Dr. Phil, I guess, came out with a response, and this is really ridiculous that this has dragged out this long, and he's finally responding, but we're going to go ahead and analyze that today. I don't know if his name is actually Atozy or A to Z, honestly, but we're going to react to it. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. If you enjoy me reacting to this while playing some Valheim, you enjoy the chill vibes, hit that like button and subscribe today.
In today's video, we're going to be covering Dr. Phil's response to the whole Bhad Bhabie situation. If you missed out on my last few videos, I'll be linking them in the description down below. But in short, Bhad Bhabie, also known as Danielle Bregoli, came out in support of another girl who came out with allegations against Turnabout Ranch. Danielle Bregoli also came out with her own abuse allegations towards Turnabout Ranch and also called out Dr. Phil for sending her and other people to this ranch. Danielle believes that Dr. Phil should not be sending kids and teenagers to these youth camps. From what I know, Dr. Phil's involvement is recommending these facilities and covering the expenses of sending these teenagers to them. But beyond that, I'm not so sure how much he's involved. Although he's sent quite a few of these teenagers to various youth facilities, it seems like it's actually the parent that has the last say if the teenager is actually going or not. But as I said earlier, he's actually came out and responded to what Danielle has been saying on the internet recently. Danielle did say she was going to take it in her own hands if Dr. Phil himself didn't respond within a certain deadline, and it seems like he's actually responded within this deadline. So I thought today we'd sit down, we'd watch this together, and I'd chime in with some of my thoughts. He responded on a show I've never heard of called Banfield. I mean, I just might be a little bit too young to even know about the show.
I said you're not the Banfield demographic.
No, probably not.
I don't know what it is either.
Reading the New York Post this weekend, I open up this story about a teen rapper named Bhad Bhabie.
We're off to a good start.
Bad.
Oh,
Bhabie.
Lord. Can't even get her name
that sounds
right.
like an alternate reality version of Bhad Bhabie as a male. But clearly we're off to a good...
Look, okay, I do a lot of reaction videos, and I get people's name wrong all the time. But the one difference between me doing reaction videos and this news reporter is that they're a freaking news reporter. Like, you have so many tools at your disposal, so much time. Like, this is literally your job. Get their names right, at least. Alright, let's just move on.
Let's see if she's even corrected here or not.
Her real name is Danielle Bregoli, and she's saying, I
least that one's right.
Apology from Dr. Phil, and if I don't get an apology by some date, I'm going to handle it my own way. She says that I was on his show 5 years ago, and I was recommended to go off to this boot camp.
Look at the way that she's paraphrasing here, and the way that she's, like, minimalizing the entire situation. Even her body language, like, the way she's explaining this is if she just doesn't care about this issue or these allegations whatsoever. It's like she's already favoring Dr. Phil before he even says anything.
And they were abusive at this boot camp. I want to play this, the soundbite from your show, so everybody knows who this person is and what she was like at 13 years old. Her mom brought her on the show to say, I can't handle her anymore. So here's that moment off your show.
And all these laughing like something funny.
I feel like they're kind of framing her in a way to where people shouldn't take what she's saying as seriously.
I feel like they're trying to discredit her right off the bat. They're like,
she made all of these serious allegations, but let me just play the soundbite so everyone knows who this is.
And sure, yeah, of course, like, her behavior then was not good whatsoever. But
she's a little girl.
It doesn't mean that the solution to treating that kind of behavior is to...
Be real with y'all, I never, like, got super into the Cash Me Outside, like, hype. It was interesting for what it was. It was kind of funny, but, like, no one really saw, like, her becoming what she is. No one really looked into it too deep. And then, like, now the years have passed and we realize she's growing, she's becoming a full-fledged adult, and the meme has, like, basically died all the way out. And then you have this news reporter bringing this back up, bringing this stupid meme back up when she's giving off very serious allegations about assault and things that have to do with minors.
Throw them into an abusive environment.
Did you say the are laughing?
Yeah. Catch me outside. How about that?
Boy, I had a vague recollection of that young. And by the way, let's remind everyone, that was 13. Not sure how I would have handled that 13-year-old if she were my 13-year-old. But let's talk about her and what she's now doing in her accusations. She says that the place that she was recommended to go was abusive to her, wouldn't let her sleep. What are your responses to her?
Well, you know, she went to turnabout 4 or 5 years ago, and if she had a bad experience, obviously I would hate that. We'd be sorry about that, but we don't have anything to do with what happens with guests once they leave the stage. I mean, that's between the guardian and the parent and whatever facility they go to. So
of course.
We're not involved in that. We don't have any feedback from them. So whatever happens once they're there, that's between them and the facility. I assume she had a problem. She filed a complaint with the proper authorities or something 5 years ago. So I really don't know much about it.
His tone, before A to Z says anything here, his tone sounds so nonchalant, dude. He does not care. This is the most checked out Dr. Phil I've ever seen in my life. This is like a far cry from the Dr. Phil I used to watch. And I'm starting to understand, like, maybe this is the same Dr. Phil. Because the truth of the matter is like, you don't really know someone based on, like, the content they're putting out, right? Like, y'all know me, but you know me for the videos I make. People know Dr. Phil for his presence on stage. And I'm starting to understand, like, I don't think he cares about any of the guests he has on stage once they're off the stage. I think he only cares about them when the camera's on and the lights are on and the show and it's making him money. Outside of that, it doesn't seem like he cares about any of these guests on the show. And this response really shows it. He doesn't even sound like he's halfway serious here.
It was kind of like, it was a very defensive response, and it was a very careful response in a way. He does say, like, yeah, I mean, we don't have anything to do. Like, we just recommend where to go, and they probably cover expenses. But at the end of the day, it's, I guess, Danielle's mom that sent her to this place. So he's kind of doing this. I mean, there's so many variables as well, though, you have to think about. Because, like, I guess one of the main reasons she came out about this now is because of another girl's experience that she was like, well, I had a similar experience, so I want to come out and back her. Also, she went to this place at a very young age of, like, 13, 14 years old. Now, I'm not so sure if you can come out against something like this at 13 to 14 years old. You can actually articulate yourself in a way where people will actually take you serious, especially after being famous for what she is famous for.
And also, she could have just been scared and just wanted to get out of there, and I don't think that I mean, I'm not trying to come for her mom. I don't know the whole situation there, but I don't know if her mom is very responsible either. So if she were to tell her mom this, I don't know if her mom would immediately think, oh, we should tell some sort of authorities.
She's also saying that it's a no proof. It's all basically word of mouth, which could also hold someone back from sharing their experience because they're worried it's going to be instantly neglected. But let's see what else they have to say.
First of all, calling a group of people you don't know who are mostly...
Okay, but this is besides the point. They're not covering any of her allegations whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's 5 years later going, wow, this girl is acting bad. Like, yeah,
Bruh,
you missed out on the wave.
she was sent to a horrifying camp because of her behavior. So her behavior is kind of irrelevant because that's been corrected since.
And they don't even have the excuse of being like a YouTuber like me. Like, I can talk about certain things, but let's be real. YouTube really censors what you say, and if you do want to make money, then you're really not able to talk about certain topics. And this is a news reporter. They can talk about whatever they want. They have ads running 24/7 no matter what the topic. You know, it could have been a Columbine, and they'll have like a KFC ad playing like right next to it. So like, I don't understand why they wouldn't go into more detail about the allegations. They're very serious.
What about covering her allegations?
And then saying, catch me outside, how about that? Meaning I'm going to beat you up outside.
She was 13. Are you really threatened?
You know, what do you do with young people like that? What else is there but some tough love?
I hate the term tough love.
Yeah,
I don't think tough love should ever be a thing.
Yeah, they just need to witness a murder or something. Yeah, that'll fix the problem.
You just need to traumatize your kid a little bit. What are you saying? I hate that so much. This lady gives me very much so high school guidance counselor vibes.
Oh my goodness. So, are they not gonna bring up any of the things that she said about Turnabout Ranch? Or are they just gonna use, I guess, her original appearance on the Dr. Phil show as reference for this entire interview?
She's like, so if a kid is acting up and I can't abuse them or traumatize them, what can I do? What are our options here, Dr. Phil? Please let me know.
You can't coddle kids like that.
A73.
Well, I think every situation is different, and there are a lot of these children teenagers and adolescents that my approach has been, I don't ask myself why you're the way you are. I ask myself why not, because if you look at their upbringing, and I'm not talking about this story, it was 5 years ago. I don't remember too much about it, but
You don't remember too much about it? Dude, like, she
Wow.
made the Dr. Phil show super relevant again. She is by far the most famous guest to ever have gone on to Dr. Phil, from what I know.
I don't understand why he always does this. I'm pretty sure he acts like he doesn't really remember. He's like, I can't really remember her name. Yes,
And he's
you
also
do.
being interviewed about her right now, so I'd assume that he would maybe, I don't know, open the folder with her again and just maybe rehash the whole situation before he literally takes an interview about this girl. Okay.
and you got to look at each case
Wow.
separately. Some of them were
Just
raised in a lot
open
of
this
chaos
whole thing up,
and
actually.
a lot of turmoil, and so they do what they have to survive.
And that's true, I mean, in her case as well, because, I mean, wasn't Danielle Bregoli a trailer park kid from northern Florida?
You're a product of your environment.
Exactly. And it's all about, I guess, education and experience.
Yeah.
But you still have to protect them from themselves. And I think that the main thing is to
This
get
looks
the
trash.
child through that year, then get them through the next year, then the next year, and then pretty soon they're adults and you've gotten them through that tough patch. And that's the hard thing that parents have to make a decision about is, what path do I take? And we point parents in a direction of, I try to be an emotional compass and point parents in a direction. If they're being inconsistent with their parenting or something, I try to point that out, put it on a to-do list for them. But the real work starts, once they get home and have to realign what they're doing. And it's not easy in this day and time. There's social media influences, fast-paced life. Kids grow
Get
up
some
really
copper
fast
going.
these days.
They're just really not talking about the Bhad Bhabie. Like, this is too broad. They're just kind of like,
She's asking, how do you handle a kid like that? Why are you
it's
asking
like,
this?
This
Why
is
is
not
that
an
relevant?
interview. This is not really a response to the whole, or
It's
this
not.
isn't a response to her allegations whatsoever. He hasn't apologized. All he's really
Nope.
done is just this, which is a bit of a weak response, if you ask me.
He's been dodging. He's legally dodging. He's making sure he has no legal ties to the situation, whatever. But, like, at the end of the day, is there a moral obligation? Is there an ethical obligation? Like, that's the actual question. This isn't about legality. But he's making sure that he can't get sued for anything.
You know what, Phil? I got to tell you, the more I hear from teachers and coaches,
Okay, but what about her allegations?
how did we get to this point where you're allowed, A, to drop an F-bomb anywhere if you're a kid, and B, that you're allowed to do that to a teacher?
Well,
What is
just
she
a-
talking
so,
about?
I mean, he's not going to respond anymore about Bhad Bhabie in this. This is just way too broad.
Miss Banfield, you need better questions for the interview.
Yeah, they completely missed everything with this. Hopefully, maybe he'll do another interview where he actually covers some of the allegations and maybe he puts in some of his thoughts on what he thinks about this and maybe some insight on what he thinks these camps should do differently to avoid situations like this. I don't know, anything.
Why can't he just pay for them to go to therapy instead of pay for them to go be traumatized at a camp in the middle of Utah?
I don't
What's
know.
wrong with normal therapy?
So apparently she responded to this.
He said that he don't know what goes on after you leave. How do you not know what goes on after, or it's not his problem what goes on after? How do you send multiple minors to a facility in Utah in the middle of nowhere and you don't do a follow-up on them?
Thank
He
you.
damn well did have to do a follow-up on me because my program got extended. I was there for 6 months instead of 100 days. And he was the one who approved me being there for 6 months instead of 100 days. So how do you not know? How is it not your responsibility, but you're still checking up and making sure that they're still there and their program is still finishing out and everything?
So he's negligent then. I mean, he's doing wrong by these kids.
He just don't want to take accountability for it because there's some type of scheme going on where every time he sends a child there, something goes in his favor. I don't know if he gets money. I don't know if it gets him good publicity. I don't know what it is, but
Okay, so when he...
Look, I don't know what y'all are seeing here. Okay, I don't care. Like, maybe you're just looking at Bhad Bhabie for what she is, and look, you're fine to do that. You're able. She put her kind of content out there on the internet. At the end of the day, she's subject to being judged by me, by being judged by everybody. It is what it is. But let me tell you, I swear, I am getting the most genuine vibes from what she's saying, and it makes so much sense that they would benefit in this way. And if it is that way, then that definitely is a huge conflict of interest. It's a huge conflict of interest. And if there is any proof of this, and if anyone can find this, then there would be some legal action to be taken, and Dr. Phil could actually be in some serious trouble.
He came out saying it's not on him. He sent them there. That ain't true. He needs to be held accountable for this.
He definitely does. Like, how has there been multiple cases of assault, or multiple accusations of assault, and a murder that happened there, and you act like you don't know about it? It was on that.
Right.
Well, okay. So I guess she's just doubling down on her allegations here. So it'll be interesting to see if Dr. Phil actually responds to this in a real way, rather than just kind of like sidestepping around the allegations and just talking about kids acting out in a broad term. That's not really much of a response.
I thought it was interesting, though, how she kind of said, in a sense, that he's like a shill for these places.
Yeah, and that's like a serious allegation, in my opinion.
Do you think she's just speculating, or she has some sort of knowledge?
I feel like that's speculation.
It is
Maybe
speculation.
With some of her own experience, so it could be like an educated guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has any clear facts on this, because if she did have any clear facts, she would be posting all about it on her Instagram stories and Twitter. So that's my opinion on this. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I don't think this situation is finished at all. I took a week off of YouTube. I was working on another personal project of mine. I'm trying to figure out a way to incentivize people to recycle. So if you never hear about that again, I probably just failed and wasted a bunch of money, but if you hear about it again, it probably went well. We'll just leave it at that. I can't really elaborate too much on it. I'll probably elaborate it on a secondary channel of mine that I will create, where I talk more about businessy
look
stuff.
at that.
If you guys are new
What?
here, it'll be
The
awesome.
force is moving?
Drop a like on the video, comment what you think of this entire situation, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Well, that was A to Z, the Dr. Phil response and his thoughts on it. Honestly, I kind of feel similarly to him. Bhad Bhabie, we need the receipts. You know what I'm saying? We need more factual evidence of something like that where Dr. Phil is actually complicit. But if she doesn't have that, then it's really just he say, she say. And that doesn't really do very well in the eyes of the law. So, but yeah, if you enjoyed my reaction to this, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe today. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm being rated.